Hello and welcome to Science Hour. My name is Mr. Black. Today we have with us Dr. Niels Heinrich David Bohr. Good evening, Dr. Bohr.
Good evening.
So tell us about yourself, Dr. Bohr.
Yes, but of course. I was born on October 7th, 1885 in beautiful Copenhagen, Denmark.
If I'm correct, you also got married there, didn't you?
Yes, that's why it's so beautiful. I married my lovely wife, Margaret Norland, in 1912.
Ah, that is very sweet. So, how was it growing up? How was your childhood?
My childhood didn't really consist of much. As a child, I'd play football with my brother, and we actually ended up playing football together for Academisk Old Club, a Danish club.
Ah, really? Well, you learn something new every day.
See, I'm more than just a science man.
Yes. So tell us, how was your education?
It was actually really great. I did my undergrad at Copenhagen University in 1903, first studying philosophy and math. I worked in the physics field. 8 years later, I received my doctorate, hence my doctor title. 5 years after that, in 1916, I was appointed to the chair of theoretical physics at Copenhagen.
Oh, that's really great. So I've heard that all the scientists are pretty close, like they know each other, they work with each other. Is that correct?
It is. I conducted experiments under J.J. Thomson as a postdoctoral student back at Cambridge University.
Ah, that sounds very interesting.
Yes, and I joined Ernest Rutherford at Manchester University.
Ah, yes. These two scientists are, in fact, they have to do with one of the topics of today, which is the atom.
Yes, my model of the atom.
The planetary model. So tell us all about your model of the atom.
Of course. Well, first off, it's called the planetary model because it had the electrons confined into defined orbits, but it really wasn't that easy. Yes, they could jump between the orbits, but not freely in between them. That's because the electron has to absorb or emit a specific amount of energy to move between fixed orbits.
So, forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's what the problem was with Rutherford's model, correct? The electron placement?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And the only logical way to know their placement is if they were confined to orbit around the nucleus.
That makes sense. And now we're going to show our audience Rutherford's model, just so they have an idea of how the old model looked. And now we'll show them your model again for comparison.
As you can see, my model has the energy levels. See, these held the electrons, meaning the nucleus is positively charged. At the ground state, the first energy level has to have 2 electrons before the next level can be used, which holds 8. In the excited state, even though the first one can hold 2 at most and the second 8, the electrons can go to any level, but it really wasn't perfect.
Oh?
As a matter of fact, it violates the uncertainty principle.
The uncertainty principle?
It's the principle that states that you can't know both the position and velocity of any electron or very small particles.
Well, I guess you can't be perfect.
Exactly.
Okay, so did you have any other works?
I'm actually also well known for the hydrogen line emission spectrum.
It's one of those three classic experiments of light, isn't that correct?
Yeah, you're correct.
So what exactly, happened in that experiment?
Well, I found that when hydrogen is held up to a prism, certain parts of the visible light spectrum weren't shown. The funny thing about it is that the parts of the visible light spectrum that didn't show up lined up perfectly with the energy levels of hydrogen.
That is actually very interesting. Is there any other information on that?
Well, since it's one of the 3 classic experiments on light, the results can't be explained if light's only a wave.
Oh, how so?
Well, if light were a wave, then the visible light spectrum would have been continuous.
Ah, that's very intriguing. Well, that's all the time we have here today. Thank you for your time, Dr. Bohr. For more information on Niels Bohr or his model of the atom, please watch the documentary of Dr. Bohr, How Bohr Helps Science. How about we show the viewers a clip from your documentary?
Thank you for having me here, and roll the clip.
A man from humble beginnings. Born in Copenhagen, Denmark, Niels Bohr was not expecting to be a world-renowned scientist. He was just a kid. This would change as soon as he began studying physics at Copenhagen University.
My 8 years at Copenhagen were what really got me into physics.
After obtaining his doctorate, Bohr went on to study as a postdoctoral student at Cambridge University under J.J. Thomson, the man who created the plum pudding model of the atom. and in 1912 he met Ernest Rutherford at Manchester University. Rutherford also made a model of the atom. In 1913, just 1 year after meeting Rutherford, Niels Bohr created the planetary model of the atom, also known as the Bohr model. Bohr's model greatly improved our understanding of the electron and the energy levels in which the electrons were located. Electrons were located in specific energy levels. The energy of each level increased as the distance from the nucleus increased. The first energy level, known as n equals 1, holds 2 electrons. The next energy level is called n equals 2, and it holds 8. The naming goes on like this: n equals 3, n equals 4, n equals 5, etc.
My model of the atom was revolutionary at the time.
However, there was bound to be something wrong with his model of the atom. Bohr gave both the position and the velocity of the electrons. However, the uncertainty principle states that one cannot know both position and velocity of something. Nevertheless, Bohr went on to win the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1922. He also won the Franklin Medal in 1962.
I'm just happy to have won something. I guess you could say it was my goal in life.
Bohr did more than just develop a new model of the atom. He also worked on the Manhattan Project, which was a research and development program between the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada to develop the first atomic bomb during World War II.
It was exciting, to say the least.
Niels Bohr was a great scientist and a great man.
Thank you for watching our interview with Niels Bohr on Science Hour. Sadly, Dr. Bohr died while the interview was in post-production. He died on November 18th, 1962, at the age of 77 years old. We hope that you will remember this great man and all of his accomplishments in science.